In the spring of 1945, the Third Reich was collapsing. Across Europe, German armies were retreating on every front. Soviet forces were closing in on Berlin from the east, while American troops advanced relentlessly from the west. Entire cities lay in ruins. Millions of refugees crowded roads and villages. The war that had consumed the world for 6 years was finally approaching its violent conclusion. Yet, in the Austrian Alps, far from the major battlefields, a strange and extraordinary story was about to unfold. A story so unlikely that if it had been written as fiction, few would have believed it. Nestled among the mountains stood Castle Itter, an ancient fortress surrounded by forests and steep hills. During the war, the Nazis had transformed the castle into a special prison. Unlike ordinary camps, Castle Itter held some of France's most important political prisoners. Former prime ministers, military leaders, resistance figures, and prominent public officials were all confined within its stone walls. To Hitler's regime, these prisoners represented valuable hostages. To the Allies, they were symbols of a nation waiting to be liberated. As Germany crumbled, discipline throughout the Nazi system began to collapse. Communication lines failed, orders became confused, entire units abandoned their positions. Some soldiers continued fighting fanatically while others simply wanted to survive. In the chaos, the prisoners inside Castle Itter realized that their fate was uncertain. The guards could abandon them, they could be executed, or they could be caught in the final madness of a dying regime. One night, a prison official sympathetic to the prisoners disappeared into the darkness carrying a desperate message. His mission was simple but dangerous. He had to find Allied forces and convince them to rescue the castle before it was too late. The surrounding countryside remained filled with armed troops, roaming patrols, and pockets of resistance. Every kilometer increased the risk of capture, yet somehow, against overwhelming odds, the message reached American lines. At the same time, something equally unusual was happening nearby. A German army officer named Major Josef Gangl had come to a difficult realization. The war was lost. Continuing to fight served no purpose except unnecessary death. Rather than blindly obeying collapsing Nazi authority, Gangl chose a different path. He began working with local Austrian resistance groups to protect civilians from fanatical SS units still operating in the region. His priority was no longer victory. It was survival. When news of the prisoners reached him, Gangl understood the danger immediately. Castle Itter was vulnerable. The SS could attack at any moment. The prisoners needed protection. Realizing he lacked sufficient manpower, he made an extraordinary decision. He would seek help from the Americans. A short time later, Gangl met Captain John Jack Lee of the U.S. Army. Under normal circumstances, they would have been enemies. They had spent years fighting on opposite sides of the war. Yet the situation now unfolding in Austria was anything but normal. Both men quickly understood the stakes. Lives depended on immediate action. Together they formed a small rescue force unlike any seen during the war. The group that set out toward Castle Itter was tiny. A handful of American soldiers, several German Wehrmacht troops loyal to Gangl, a single Sherman tank. It was hardly the force one would expect for a mission into hostile territory. Yet there was no time to wait for reinforcements. The castle needed help immediately. As they approached the fortress, the prisoners could scarcely believe what they were seeing. American soldiers stood beside German soldiers. Men who had been enemies only days earlier now shared the same mission. Weapons were distributed. Defensive positions were prepared. Ammunition was gathered. Everyone knew an attack was coming. The next morning, their fears became reality. SS troops emerged from the surrounding forests and began surrounding the castle. Unlike the German soldiers inside the fortress, these men remained fiercely loyal to the Nazi cause. To them, surrender was unthinkable. The prisoners represented valuable targets. The Americans represented the enemy. The defenders represented betrayal. Gunfire soon echoed across the mountains. Bullets shattered stone walls. Machine guns opened fire. Smoke drifted across the castle grounds. The defenders fought from windows, towers, and defensive positions. Despite being heavily outnumbered, they held their ground. American soldiers fired alongside German troops. French prisoners even joined the defense, helping wherever possible. Hour after hour, the battle intensified. The Sherman tank position near the entrance became a crucial part of the defense. Its cannon discouraged direct assaults and forced attackers to remain cautious, yet the tank itself became a target. Eventually, enemy fire disabled it, leaving the defenders increasingly vulnerable. The situation grew desperate. Ammunition supplies dwindled, casualties mounted, communication with Allied forces became uncertain. The defenders knew they could not hold indefinitely. During the fighting, Major Josef Gangl repeatedly exposed himself to enemy fire while helping coordinate the defense. At one critical moment, he moved to protect a former French prime minister from incoming gunfire. A sniper's bullet struck him. Gangl collapsed and died almost instantly. His death shocked everyone inside the castle. Only days earlier, he had been an officer in the German army. Now, he had given his life protecting Allied prisoners and fighting alongside Americans. The battle continued. The defenders fought with increasing determination, knowing relief had to arrive soon. Every minute mattered. Every position became critical. The fate of the castle hung in the balance. Then, just as hope seemed to be fading, distant sounds echoed through the valley. American reinforcements were approaching. As additional U.S. troops arrived, the balance shifted dramatically. The attacking SS forces suddenly found themselves trapped between defenders inside the castle and fresh Allied soldiers advancing from outside. Their assault collapsed. Many surrendered, others fled into the surrounding mountains. The battle was over. The defenders had survived. The prisoners were free. Castle Itter had been saved. When the smoke finally cleared, everyone present understood they had witnessed something extraordinary. Throughout 6 years of war, countless battles had been fought. Armies had clashed across continents. Millions had died. Yet nowhere else had American and German soldiers fought side by side in a common cause quite like this. The story quickly faded beneath larger events. Berlin fell only days later. Germany surrendered. World War II in Europe came to an end. The world focused on rebuilding and moving forward. But the events at Castle Itter remained one of the most remarkable episodes of the entire conflict. Today, the fortress still stands among the Austrian mountains. Tourists walk through halls once filled with gunfire and fear. The forests surrounding the castle appear peaceful once more. Yet the story endures as a reminder that even in humanity's darkest moments, choices still matter. Major Josef Gangl could have continued fighting for a lost cause. Captain Jack Lee could have refused cooperation with a former enemy. The prisoners could have surrendered to despair. Instead, individuals from different nations, different armies, and different backgrounds came together against a common threat. The Battle of Castle Itter remains one of history's greatest ironies. A battle where enemies became allies. A battle where courage mattered more than nationality. A battle that proved that even in war, humanity can sometimes rise above division. And that is why, decades later, it is still remembered as the strangest battle of World War II.